Hey everybody, I wanted to make a quick video about giant scale aircraft. There's been a lot of stuff I've seen on the internet the last couple of 6 months to a year, but the other day I saw a post that it just kind of really got under my skin, and it's about the size of our aircraft. So what I want to do is I want to talk a little bit about the AMA rules. I want to talk about what it takes to build giant scale aircraft, the responsibility of having giant scale aircraft, and really there's a perception that the bigger the airplane is, the more dangerous it is, and statistically that's not proven at all. Most people who build large airplanes are going to have a massive investment in it, and they are going to make sure that they're not throwing their money away. And most of the time they've built for many, many years. Okay? Now I'm not talking about sometimes, and I want to be delicate in how I say this, there are some builders that aren't flyers. Okay? I've seen some larger warbirds built by builders that aren't good flyers. But what I want to do is talk about what's the real chance of somebody getting hurt by a giant scale aircraft. When you think about the AMA, we have what's called the LMA-1, which is basically an aircraft in between 55 pounds and 77.2 pounds. Then you have LMA-2, which is the 77.3 up to 125 pounds. So anything under 55 pounds, anybody under the AMA can fly, and they should adhere to the rules, which means you don't fly over people, you don't fly over houses. I saw a post the other day by an idiot, and I know that's a strong word to say, but the guy just really got under my skin because there was a picture of a large airplane posted on the internet, and the guy said, boy, I wouldn't like to see that crash into a roof of a house. Well, first of all, we don't fly over houses. We don't fly over people. We fly at normally airfields that are designed with safety in mind. Okay? Bigger airplanes aren't quite as fast most of the time as a smaller aircraft, or even a turbine aircraft. If you think of some of the turbines that people are flying out there, you know, they can go up to 100 pounds. They can carry 2 to 3 gallons of aviation fuel. Jet A, kerosene. And you know, people want to act like, well, what if it just falls out of the sky? Well, if it does, it's over a cornfield, or it's over a field that no houses or people are at. Okay? So, me personally, building giant scale is kind of fulfilling a little itch I had when I was a kid. I want to be an aeronautical engineer, which I'm glad I'm not now, because most of them build a part or a piece of the airplane, not the entire aircraft. With myself, I get to design completely from my own drawings, designing my own parts, learning an awful lot about materials, you know, balsa, how strong it is versus basswood versus using some carbon fiber or fiberglass. So building giant scale in no way is unsafe. That's just a myth. I mean, if somebody wanted to build a half scale of anything, as long as they stay within the AMA guidelines of being under 125 pounds, size doesn't matter. And then some guy posts the whole physics BS. Okay, well, you know, mass is directly related to size, but they always forget about the density. The density is the squared part of the formula. Okay? Just because you have a quarter scale aircraft doesn't mean it weighs 1/4 of the real airplane. So let's say 126,000 pound Boeing 717, let's say weighs 126,000 pounds, I think it's around that, and you build a 1/10 scale. It doesn't mean it's going to weigh, what would that be, 12,600 pounds. Okay, so you know, it's just silly when people talk about the size of an aircraft. A lot of times when you get bigger with an aircraft, your wing loading goes down, or your cube wing loading goes down. So it's just a myth that the bigger we get, they automatically have to be really heavy and hard to fly. Do you realize that under the AMA and the LMA, they recommend you not go above 60 a wing loading of 60 ounces. That's huge. But when you think of the cube wing loading, 60 isn't that bad on a plane that has a 20-foot wingspan. Okay? So I just want everybody to understand that when we're really talking about safety, it's how good of a pilot you are, how good the airplane's built, and are you adhering to the rules. And the rules are, you don't fly over people, you don't fly over houses, okay? You just don't. I mean, if you've got a little 2-pound foamy and you fly it in your neighborhood, that's one thing. But if you're going to fly a plane that weighs 15 or 20 pounds or 70 pounds, you don't fly those over houses. Okay? So I just really want people to understand that there's all kinds of guidelines out there for doing giant scale aircraft safe under the Academy of Model Aeronautics guidelines. All the math's in there. Okay, they talk about making sure that you're dynamically balancing your flying surfaces, you don't have flutter. There's recommendations on the size of the aileron versus the size of the wing, unless it's a scale aircraft. There's all these recommendations under the AMA that the moment you get over 55 pounds, you really need to adhere to this. So going large is not unsafe. And even if a guy wants to build a 75% aircraft of something, depending on what country he lives in. The cool thing about Large Model Association over in Great Britain, they actually get their planes certified, if I remember right, unless this has changed, as aircraft. Not manned aircraft, but aircraft. And they can go up to 200 or 300 pounds on a model airplane. So it's just really important that you get the facts on giant scale aircraft. Okay? They are not inherently dangerous. A 40 size airplane going 80 miles an hour hitting you in the back isn't going to matter what size airplane that is. It could be a quarter scale Corsair that weighs 100 pounds hitting you in the back. And I know people are going to do the math and say, well, Damon, this velocity equals this. I'm talking about realistically. Another neat thing about large airplanes is every time I've seen one, which is very, very rare, start to go somewhere it might not be able to go, and normally the pilot gets it back under control. I've seen some 3D pilots come toward the audience, but they get control. But everybody's watching that airplane. They can run. They can get out of the way. A very small airplane coming very fast might be very hard to see. So I hope this is informative to you. I hope you understand the passion that a lot of us giant scale people have. But keep in mind, very few of us are going to spend $10,000 to $20,000 on an airplane and not know how to fly it and follow the rules. I know once in a while there's that caveat that you're going to have that really good builder that builds a really beautiful 20-foot B-24. He's going to get it out there, take off, and get 100 yards out and not know if it's coming toward him or going away, and I'll crash it. But guess what? He's over cornfields. He's just throwing his money away. He's not over houses. He's not over people. Okay? So fly safe. Educate yourself. Okay? Be in the know of giant scale aircraft or any model aircraft. Okay? One last thing. LMA 1, which I fall under with my MSL because I'm under 77.2 pounds, I can self-inspect it. But when I do all the test flying and regiments, I have to have 2 CDs, contest directors, watch me fly it. And then I do all my paperwork, send it off to the AMA, and I have to redo that every year, which is kind of a pain because if the plane's been checked out, I should just recertify it each year, but every year I got to recertify it with 2 CDs seeing me fly it. However, if you're LMA 2, which means you're 77.3 pounds and higher, you actually have to have a guy or gal inspect your aircraft. And when they inspect your aircraft, they're going to go through an extensive list of things they have to check. Just like when I self-certify my plane, there is a checklist that's like 8 or 9 pages long. And that checklist I have to check out and send in with my documentation to the AMA to show them that I did all of that on my initial pre-flight. And I get a temporary airworthiness certificate for 1 day to test fly my plane, and I send all that in. So I don't want people to think that giant scale airplanes is something you just build in your garage really big and you take off to the AMA field and you fly it. There's a lot more to it. I actually keep a logbook on my plane. I keep how many, let's see, how many flights, how long each flight is, if there's any damage to the airplane that I've had to repair. Anything I do to the airplane is logged. Now, there's certain things that if the plane's damaged too much, you got to recertify the airplane and send it into the AMA. So I hope this makes sense. I hope you enjoy my videos. Please educate yourself. Don't be stupid. Don't be dumb. Okay? Large-scale aircraft is not the end of the world. Okay, thanks for watching my videos, everybody, and keep the emails coming.